All right, folks, what an episode we have coming your way today. A look at some of the topics we have coming up. In Illinois, a chiropractor is accused of secretly recording 180 patients in the nude. In Miami, the mysterious death of an 18-year-old raises safety concerns in the cruise industry. In Kansas, a former local Fox News anchor is accused of stabbing her mother to death. In Louisiana, a female student, 13 years old, is expelled after fighting a male who made a deep fake porn image of her, and many are infuriated in the Bayou State. We're going to talk about that. In Las Vegas, a porn star is arrested after beheading the father of her two children following an affair with his stepson. Yeah, there's a lot of connections we got to make on that one, but it's pretty wild. These stories and more are coming at you today on Crime Wire Weekly. I'm Jim Chapman.
And I'm Kelly Jennings.
Kelly Jennings, you got your tree up yet?
Well, that is difficult.
Everybody's putting their tree up before Thanksgiving.
Well, I put a little tiny tree up in my kitchen, but I made a Thanksgiving tree.
A Thanksgiving tree,
Yeah.
That's good.
I found some antique brass and copper they look like little utensils and stuff from the kitchen. I was like, this will be cute. And so I made ornaments, and it's a Thanksgiving little tiny tree.
Well, it's interesting here in South Louisiana, when you get your first cold snap, that's when everyone's like, we need to put up the Christmas tree.
But we hit a gumbo is what we do.
Well, that too. That also happens during cold snaps. But it's interesting how many people this weekend, because we had some cold weather, y'all. We actually had our first freeze way early into the season here in South Louisiana. And on Facebook, it was just covered with people putting up trees and putting up pictures. A lot of beautiful trees out there. I'm not against it. I
feel so
I think
festive.
whenever you want to do it, do it.
Yeah, I feel joy in my heart. I feel so festive. And so my husband was like, no, you have to wait till Thanksgiving. I said, you can wait for whatever you want, but I will be putting that Christmas tree up sooner than later.
Yeah, there
It
you
just
go.
makes me happy.
There's no rule to that.
No, we can have Thanksgiving in the kitchen and we can have Christmas in the living room.
Right. And you know, one great thing is we have Mardi Gras here in Louisiana. A lot of people don't.
Thank you, Lord.
You know, they're not putting up a tree is fun. Taking it down kind of sucks because the season's over as it is. And, you know, it's a lot of work. So here in South Louisiana, we have Mardi Gras just a couple of months after Christmas. And most people here don't even take their tree down. They just take the decorations off and they make it a Mardi Gras tree, which is pretty cool.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh, my God, I love Mardi Gras.
There you go. All right, you ready? You got anything else, or you want to get into some crime?
No, well, I wanted to. Can I tell you a little story real quick?
Sure.
The people might like this one. I went to another antique store. I love going to them. Anyway, this old lady was sitting there, and we were talking. She said, "Girl, you never know who a criminal is." And I said, "You're right." Now this woman's like 70. I said, "You're right." She's like myself. And I said, "You're a criminal?" She said, "Yeah." I said, "Girl, what did you do?" You know, because like she was fancy. She had jewels and stuff. And she said, "I fed a boiled peanut to a coyote." And I said, "What?" The police ticketed her. She had to pay $175 fine
for feeding
or go
wild
to jail.
I
said, "Bish, I'd have been up in that jail fist fighting before I paid $175 fine for feeding a peanut to a coyote." But she
I
was
wonder
like,
if she was messing with you.
"No, she was not. She was not." She said they were up in the mountains somewhere. I don't know. And it was. She said there were cameras everywhere, and there were signs that said "Don't feed the coyotes," but she did.
Why she got to feed him when
it was hungry?
That coyote would have tore her up. See, that's why they're looking out for people, because they got morons that bring hamburgers to bears. Here, come here, little cute bear.
That bear, I would have crocheted a little knit sweater and loved it.
Yeah, we'd be reading about you.
So y'all watch it out there. Don't be feeding no peanuts to no coyotes.
All right, well, we're going to go to Illinois. We're going to tell you not about a coyote. We're going to tell you about a chiropractor who faces.
Are you saying chiropractor?
Yeah. What
it's
do you say?
Chiropractor.
Oh my God! Did y'all hear that? Chiropractor.
All right, y'all let us know. How do you?
I
say
know
it?
It's chiropractor. I'm Southern. Chiropractor.
All right.
An Illinois chiropractor faces multiple felony charges after prosecutors said he secretly recorded nude videos of more than 180 patients, including children, inside of his office. David Hansen, who is owner of Hansen Family Chiropractic, was charged Thursday with 5 counts of producing child pornography, 3 counts of disseminating child porn, 6 counts of possessing child porn, and 3 counts of unauthorized video recording of a minor through or under clothing. And that one, I'm not really sure. I guess he was just focusing on him or something. It was a weird charge. I tried to kind of look it up. But it's a felony nonetheless. According to the Kane County State Attorney's Office, Hansen is accused of using hidden cameras to record patients as they dressed or were unclothed. Officials say victims ranged in age from young children to adults and were mostly female. Authorities said many of the recordings appeared to be made in what's known as a red light room, used for red light and near infrared light therapy. So everybody's heard of red light therapy, supposedly very good for you. Hansen allegedly placed hidden cameras throughout the office to capture that footage. Police said Hansen also possessed and shared videos containing child sexual abuse material that was not connected to his practice. Law enforcement searched Hansen's home and office Wednesday before taking him into custody that night. He appeared in court for a pretrial detention hearing, and prosecutors argued for him to remain in jail. The court granted the request, and Hansen will be held while his case is pending, so he got a no bond order. His next appearance is scheduled for November 10th at 9 a.m.
So I would go out on a limb here and guess, they have those pin cameras, and he may have been with the pin camera, like, lifting shirt to, pretend to be checking something and filming under the clothing like that, or down shirts or up skirts or I don't know, anything of that nature. But this is a predator.
Totally. And, technology, it's one of the bad things with technology is there's so many ways. Now they have so many ways to conceal cameras. You can make them look like cell phone chargers. You can make them look like fire alarms where the camera's actually inside the fire alarm and it can film like a whole room. It's ridiculous. And if you're not looking for it, you're probably not going to catch it. I'd be interested to know how he got caught.
My brain goes to this. I don't know about anybody else, but my brain goes to the thought of not just what he did, but preparing for what he did. So that means that this man was in his practice when nobody was there, and he was thinking about how to angle these cameras, where to put them. Like the preparation involved in this is really sick. If you really think it through, everything he had to go through to try to get these shots and to get this film done, it's a level of predation that's scary. And you go in here expecting to be, adjusted and having a medical problem, and to know, or God forbid, you brought your kid.
Oh, there's a lot of kids.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. And then to know that they were being taken advantage of is sick.
Yeah, really. Yeah, and a person with a level of trust. I mean, this is a doctor, so kind of adds insult to injury. But just a quick little side note on that. At one point, it's strange when you cover crime for a living, how your brain works. And I actually at one point wanted to put one of those things in the bathroom here at the office that it makes it smell good.
Yeah,
like it randomly
freshener.
Yeah, shoots the freshener out. And I plugged it in, and I'm like, that kind of looks like one of those devices because I cover this so much. And I'm like, screw that. I'm not putting that in here. Okay. Someone go to the bathroom and think
you're filming or something.
Yeah, I'm doing something I shouldn't be doing.
All right, well, let's go to Florida. We always go to Florida, man. We go Louisiana, Florida in these stories. But the family of an 18-year-old, her name was Anna Kepner, who was reported dead while aboard the Carnival Horizon cruise ship on Saturday, says that they will remember her as a happy, bubbly, straight-A student with a bright future ahead. Anna, who was set to graduate from high school in May, was traveling aboard the ship on a route from Miami to the Caribbean when she died. Details surrounding her death have not been released. The ship returned to Miami on Saturday, where the FBI has since opened an investigation into her death. And when she walked into her room, she would just light it up, according to her family, who told ABC News that if you were sad, she would make you laugh. She would joke around, and she would be the funniest little person in the room. Carnival Cruise Line confirmed her passing in a statement saying, "Our focus is on supporting the family of our guest and cooperating with the FBI." Her family says they are still coming to terms with the loss of a young woman filled with dreams and excitement for her future. She had just finished taking the test to join the military, and she was already talking to recruiters who had chosen her career path. She wanted to do something that would help her community. The family hopes Anna will be remembered for her generosity and spirit. She was deeply involved in her community, volunteering in her grandparents' 55-plus neighborhood and helping out local businesses in her hometown of Titusville, Florida. She was a people person. She loved being around people. She had that type of energy that just drew you in with her smile and the way she carried herself. She was just such an easy person to talk to. Cruise ship death cases can be very complex for law enforcement. The FBI has jurisdiction to handle cases when a crime occurs in international waters, and it falls under what is called special maritime jurisdiction laws that mandate this. For example, if a cruise departs from Miami, that gives FBI Miami jurisdiction if it's returning in or out of a U.S. cruise port. And if the alleged crime occurred in international waters, then that's the FBI's responsibility as well.
Strange story here in that there is some reporting out there that I saw when this first came out. And some of this reporting is saying she was stabbed to death and found wrapped in sheets in her room.
Who's reporting that? Do you remember?
I don't want to call out who it was.
A big news agency or a small one?
It was similar to what we do.
Okay.
And but this person is a very, very large TikTok creator and covers a lot of crime, does a great job with it.
Yeah.
The issue here is, I always try to source this with 3 sources, and that's the only person I can find saying that. Doesn't mean they're inaccurate on it. Yeah. Maybe this person has more information than the general public. Sometimes people will feed them leads that they don't feed anybody else. But the issue I'm running into is the police haven't said it. None of your typical news outlets, ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, none of them are reporting how she died yet, how they found her. And I find that strange because usually if you're found dead anywhere, it says how you were found dead, what you died of. And if you read the mainstream articles, they just say she was found dead. They don't. So it makes me think the police haven't released that yet.
Right. Well, to me, that would tell me that it was.
But this person is releasing that, which is strange.
Which is not smart also, because if the police and law enforcement is trying to keep this close to their chest, obviously it's because there's something that's needing, they don't want to release anything that might compromise the integrity of an investigation. Because if she died of natural causes, that would be, found rather easily. And so whoever fed that information, if it's true, has done a disservice to the family, in my humble opinion, because now if that's true, whoever did this knows what, at minimum, is being swirled around in the inner circles. You know what I mean? So I don't know.
Well, but when you find somebody and they've been shot, you say they've been shot. When you find somebody and no foul play is expected, or you're looking into foul play, maybe they were choked to death, but you can't really tell, whatever. It's typically reported when someone's murdered that they were found,
but if they're in a
strangled to death.
My brain goes here, and again, I've never investigated anything, on a cruise ship or anything, but my brain goes to, we're in a confined space with a limited number of people on the ship, and to minimize any information of what has happened, then when we're talking and questioning people, obviously the person who's done this is going to be lying. Any information that gets out is a step up for that person to recreate history or come up with something. So
everybody in that industry scoops stories.
What was weird was that they didn't say she was found dead on the ship.
Oh no,
because it made me think. I know, but it made me think. Well, did she jump off of it? Because they didn't give much. I know she didn't, but I'm saying because it was so limited in information, that is making me believe that this is going to be a serious case whenever it's whenever it's released. Yeah. Because even what was her name, Amy Bradley or whatever, when she was missing, they at least said she was missing. Yeah.
Well, they're definitely saying she was dead, but they just no information as to how. So this person may be right that's reporting this. And like I say, maybe they got that from a family member. Sometimes family members will communicate with certain people that they follow, and that's it.
I would suggest not doing that, but, you trust who you trust, I guess.
Trust who you trust. Yep. We'll go to Kansas, and I'm going to tell you about a former morning TV news anchor who was charged with first-degree murder in the stabbing of her 80-year-old mother. Angeline Mock, who is 47, who previously worked for Fox 2 News in St. Louis, and she didn't just work there, she anchored the news. She has been charged with first-degree murder in the stabbing of her mother, Anita Avers, this from the Sedgwick County District Attorney's Office. Mock was arrested in Wichita, Kansas, after police say Avers was killed inside the home they shared. When officers responded to the home around 7:50 a.m., they found Mock outside with cuts on her hands, and she was treated with multiple stab wounds. Avers, her mother. Mock was treated in the hospital for injuries to her hands before being booked into the jail. Mock worked as a morning news anchor at Fox 2 in St. Louis from 2011 to 2015 and also held positions at Fox 25 in Oklahoma City. At the time of her arrest, she was employed in sales at a data management software company. Neighbors in the community were traumatized after a bloodied Mock allegedly emerged from the home. Quote, there was a woman who approached our vehicle with blood all over her hands and body and asked us to call 911. That from a neighbor. Castro, the neighbor, told the outlet that Mock took her boyfriend's phone, ran back inside the house where she called authorities and allegedly claimed she stabbed her mother to save herself. That according to the Sedgwick County dispatchers. Mock's motive for the stabbing remains unclear. But, I've researched what this woman looked like. You're always curious. And I found a picture of her when she was anchoring the news and then a picture of her at her arrest. And I don't know what has happened to this woman since 2015 when she was anchoring the news, but in the first picture, and I'll put these on the Facebook page. In the first picture, she's absolutely someone that would take your breath away when she walked in a room. Just that gorgeous,
she's stunning,
typical Fox News anchor, right? Mm-hmm. The next picture, she looks like she has had a very rough time from 2015 to now. And of course, you could be beautiful and stab your mother to death. I'm not saying that doesn't exist, but we all develop some sort of disposition to what people, you hear a story like that and you think this person has a certain look to them. I'll just let you see the pictures and you judge for yourself. But
I think what you're saying,
this woman is claiming self-defense on this.
Yeah, I think what you're saying real quick about the looks thing is that the first picture, she looks very put together. This looks like a person who has a lot of self-esteem and confidence and owns a room. And then the second one she looks very, she looks like she's low self-esteem. She looks like she's let herself go. She looks like, so maybe there's some type of mental health component to this, or maybe she just didn't want to dress up anymore. But to stab your mother to death is a level of, that is such a personal level of violence. And wasn't her mom in her 80s? So,
and yes. And I don't know the situation. I do want to say this. Look, she's claiming self-defense, and some of these people, when they get Alzheimer's, they get very mean. I'm not saying her mother had that, and I've been through an Alzheimer's situation. Yeah. Now, that was not the very mean type of Alzheimer's, but some of them will attack you. Well, I don't know if that occurred in this situation, but to me, and again, we don't have all the details, but if she's 80-something years old, kick her in her knee and she'll fall down. Like you stabbed her to death. And that just seems like a very high level of violence towards an 80-something-year-old. Again, it does.
Again, we don't know if the grandma had a gun pointed at her. We don't know.
Yeah.
And that could be the case. But
or she could be a cold-blooded killer.
She could
go either way.
But one has to wonder, stabbing an old lady like that over and over again seems a bit much for self-defense, for a self-defense claim. So, we'll see. All right, now, if you are a parent, this is going to make your blood boil. And if it doesn't, we got to talk, because this is going to be right here in Louisiana. A 13-year-old student was expelled from 6th Ward Middle School after hitting a male classmate who she said created and shared a deepfake pornographic image of her, according to her family's lawyers. The family, now represented by Baton Rouge attorneys Greg Miller and Morgan Young, plan to file a federal lawsuit against the Lafourche Parish School District. The incident occurred in August when school began. The girl's father, Joseph Daniels, and the attorneys say that the young girl endured bullying after the deepfake nude image was circulated throughout the school. Deepfake images are created using artificial intelligence and can appear realistic enough to deceive viewers. Attorney Miller said school leaders at 6th Ward Middle School failed to address the girl's complaints about the circulating image despite her reporting it to school leaders. The school board's actions in this case are reprehensible, Miller said. My client's daughter was begging them all day to put a stop to this. Not only did they not put a stop to it, they put her on the bus with the perpetrator. When the girl saw the photo being shared again on the school bus, she hit the boy she said was responsible for creating it. She was later expelled from school. Daniel said he disagreed with his daughter's physical response, but felt the punishment was excessive. I do not approve of her putting hands on the little boy. So suspension would have been justified in my mind, but expulsion was extremely overboard. The case became a focal point at the Lafourche Parish School Board meeting last week, where community members expressed outrage over the district's handling of the situation. During the meeting, speakers described how the girl tried to contact her father during the day, but was told by school officials that parents did not need to be involved. The board voted to allow the student to return to school on probation, but the expulsion remains on her record, according to her father. Attorney Young joined in with others who criticized the district's response. I think the biggest failure is that they failed to take accountability for their role and the fault in it, or their fault in it. Instead, they chose to shift the narrative onto a 13-year-old girl's reaction after being sexually exploited all day. Attorney Miller said he will file a federal lawsuit against the Lafourche Parish School District in the coming weeks. The case has gained attention on social media platforms, including TikTok, with a nearly 2-hour school board meeting viewed more than 40,000 times. Daniel said the experience has affected his confidence in the school system. At this point, of course, it's shaking my faith. I completely feel like they failed all of the kids. Despite the situation, Daniel said he holds no animosity toward the male student or his family. Honestly, I have no ill will towards the young man or his family. Kids are kids and they do dumb things just like adults do. So, especially at that age, they don't comprehend the severity of what they do. The Lafourche Parish School District said it could not comment on specifics because of federal privacy guidelines. The superintendent said the district immediately reported the case to law enforcement and an investigation is ongoing.
Yeah, and I got some things to say about this.
What you got?
First of all, let me say, this one pissed me off so bad that I'm doing an Exposed episode on it next week. It is absolutely, obviously shocking. But folks, deepfakes, now with the technology we have, I can literally, well, I can't do it because I ain't looked up how to do it, but people, and obviously 13-year-old kids even, can make these images that look exactly like you. Now, obviously, no one knew what this 13-year-old's body looked like underneath her clothes, but you can find a nude image somewhere that might resemble it and superimpose her face on it. And this isn't what it used to be where you can tell the face was superimposed. It looks legit. And I'll give you a little inside information that was not said in that article.
Okay.
They were harassing her because, in addition to the fact that she, it was a fake nude, they were harassing her because this fake nude had for lack of a better word, a big bush. And so the kids were laughing at her for what her vagina looked like, unshaven, if you will. And I'll tell you how bad it got. This kid showed the pictures. She reported it as she's supposed to. Now, she went through like half the day of school just mortified because he's texting this picture to everybody. She reports it to the principal, and the principal says, okay, we're going to take care of it. Later on that day, still getting harassed by everybody that's seen this picture, she goes back up there, talks to the guidance counselor, and says, I want to call my dad, and the guidance counselor would not let her call her dad at that point. Let me finish. From there, She goes back to her class, and here's where they were really stupid. This made absolutely no sense. The bus comes. He rides the same bus she does. The school's been made aware he's harassing her with a nude fake photo, okay, which they said they didn't believe her, essentially. She gets on the bus, and this kid is sharing the picture on the bus when she gets on it. So she gets on the bus, she sits down, she looks over, and this kid's got his phone open with this deep fake photo of her, and he's showing another kid, and she reaches up and she swats him, not hits him. She swats him on the top of the head like you'd swat your husband or something like that if he made a snide comment about you when you walk past him. Swats him. The kid doesn't even react to the swat. It was that soft when she hit him. They expelled her for that.
So okay, I'm going to go somewhere with this, and I think people are going to get frustrated with me, but just hang in there. So whenever the photo was shared, I think this is where the miscommunication is going to come in, and there's fault on the school to an extent here. But if the child came forward to the office and said this is being passed around, obviously they're going to say, okay, we're going to look into it and gather information. What is their name? What happened? Blah blah blah. All right, go back to class. Let us handle it. Where the problem started, in my humble opinion, is that adults respond to things differently than kids do. So the adults are going to take their time to investigate this, to figure out what's going on, to try to get the image, I'm sure, see what was going on. But they probably failed to realize that this is huge to a kid. To an adult who it's fake. No, listen to me though. For an adult that knows that this is fake, I think they took too long because they're like, it's fake. If it's fake, we'll figure it out. How in the world they could send her back to class knowing that level of
it's child porn, Kelly.
I know that, but what I'm saying is they took too long to investigate this. And
I agree.
Right. That's what I'm trying to say, though. But they sent the kid back expecting the kid to understand that they've got to take the time to investigate it. Time out. Come see. And whenever they failed to let her call her parents, that was a mess up, too. Because now that just looks like they're trying to cover something up. What probably happened is the counselor said, listen, admin is handling it. You're going to go back to class. We're not going to call dad right now because they didn't want dad coming up there and screaming and hollering while they still didn't have it handled yet. I'm not saying that's good looking back at what we know now, but in the moment, they were probably trying to figure it out still, but they didn't do it fast enough. Like that boy should have been snatched that instant. That device
100%.
should have been taken that instant. That very instant. The SRO should have been involved that instant.
The SRO was involved.
Immediately?
Yeah, let me tell you, and look, I love SROs, and y'all know no one is more pro-police than me, but let me tell you what the SRO did in this situation.
Talk to me.
He pulls up Snapchat, and he says, I don't see any picture. Because the kid was also, incidentally, sharing it on Snapchat.
Well, he's not going to see it on Snapchat if it's a private snap.
Well, exactly. Wow, you just nailed it. They disappear. And he can share it with just certain people.
Right.
Well, this SRO pulls it up and he says, he didn't put anything on Snapchat.
So what happened is the kid probably went in and said he's putting it on Snapchat. The SRO assumes the public Snapchat. But if they left it, that's still ridiculous.
Are you that, I don't mean to say this, but are you that dumb that you don't know that you can go on Snapchat and just share it with friends? So when the SRO saw that, okay, the assumption that's being made from the attorneys for this girl, and I get it, they're attorneys, but the assumption, and it seems like it makes sense, is they didn't believe her. Oh, there's nothing on Snapchat. If they're telling you this kid's sharing this on Snapchat, talking to the girl, then they're lying to you because it's not on there. They're just trying to get your goat and upset you.
But the other side of this, though, and I'm not defending the child.
No other side.
Well, listen to me, though. No. As far as investigating this, and I'm telling you, because I've seen very, very similar things while on campus, is that you can't just flat out accuse a kid either because your hands are tied there. So admin has to go through all of these steps without alerting children, without fueling the fire, trying to find exactly who saw the message, exactly what they saw, document everything to a T, so that it's all about lawsuits. Lawsuits have become the problems where admin can't just run in and snatch out a kid like they did back in the good old days and say, what the hell is wrong with you?
But when you're Kelly, when I'm sorry, if I'm the principal and a kid comes to me and says another kid is disseminating child porn, I'm pulling him out of class right then and there.
Me too.
I'm not doing an investigation first behind the scenes. I'm pulling him out of class. And here's where the really stupid thing came in. You put him on the bus with the girl at the end of the day, knowing that there's all this tension.
Right.
So then you're surprised when the girl swats him on the head?
I'm not. And if I was her father or her mother, I would have said, no problem. Come home. No problem at all.
Yeah, but she's expelled. She's not just suspended.
I would have done exactly what these parents are doing. I think I agree. I'm not arguing that. What I'm saying is I'm playing devil's advocate right now. And I'm just telling you that the rules, because of lawsuits, have made it so incredibly difficult to handle. Now, when she reported this, if she reported this at 7 a.m. and then that kid was put on the bus with that kid again in the afternoon, huge problem, massive problem.
And it happened.
Now, I know, but just for the listeners, if she reported it to them at noon at lunchtime and then 2.5 hours later, she was put back on the bus with them. Okay, well, they didn't, 2.5 hours isn't a lot of time to figure out exactly what's going on. So I think all of that little minutia is going to come into this, and, they are going to have to make policy changes. But the reality is that we are not smart enough to deal with the advancements in technology. We are not smart. AI is out of our league at this point, and it's out of control.
And I think that was some of the issue with this case is, as a matter of fact, in the episode I'm going to be sharing a lot of the clips from the school board meeting.
Yeah.
But there's a particular attorney that I have some mad respect for. I think, in my opinion, he's the best attorney in Louisiana right now. And I know that list can go deep and change for everybody. But his last name is Ori. I call him Attorney Ori. And Attorney Ori represented a case that we covered with the LSU football player that killed himself after the wreck. We covered this on Crime Hour Weekly. But same attorney, very sharp, and he stood up in this board meeting, and he even said, no offense to one of the school board members. He says, no offense, but we're in 2025. A lot's changed. This was an older, very much older school board member who could not grasp the fact that you can make a deep fake that looks exactly like someone.
Exactly.
They're like, oh, how could you not tell? And he's like, this is 2025, lady.
Yeah.
You're 86. He didn't say that, but I'm sure that's what he was insinuating. You can't grasp this. I'm sure there were a lot of people at that school that initially, when hearing this, probably didn't even know what a deep fake was because they don't listen to our show, and they cannot grasp the fact of how real this looks. It looks very real.
This would be my statement.
Can I finish?
Yeah, but I want to tell you, the photo you're talking about, I would have said to them, if you can't grasp this, I'm going to print it out and I'm going to post it on the front of the school. Maybe then you'll understand how horrific this is, because it's that horrific. They can't seem to understand that. Yeah,
right. Well, they couldn't grasp it at the beginning, obviously. But the mistake here in what the claim is, and then we'll wrap this up, nobody's arguing that there shouldn't be any discipline. I would argue it personally as just a general layman person with kids. I would argue that I have no problem with her hitting that kid, swatting him. She didn't beat the shit out of him. These are two 13-year-olds, and she's the girl. He's the boy. Right. Come on. Right. But the parents, to their credit, are not arguing, hey, she should have been suspended. She shouldn't have hit the boy.
Yeah.
I've told her that was not the right thing to do. So he's not arguing that. The argument here and why there's a suit is they expelled her from school and put her in an alternative school. Well, that was the plan. And an alternative school is a school for bad people. Guess what happens when she goes there? This is a girl that got in no trouble in regular school. She had great grades. She goes to the alternative school, failing.
Yeah, because it's not where she's supposed to be.
Completely pulled out of her environment for something that poor girl can't wrap around her mind what she has done wrong.
Well, the school...
She did it. She took every fucking step you should take to get this kid away from you and get him to quit harassing you, and nobody would listen to her. And this is how suicides start with these teens.
I agree. I was going to say.
And everything else is this harassment over shit like this.
Well, this is.
I'm sorry. It pisses me off.
No, it should. Because this is where there's a failure to protect the child. And what happened is you failed to protect the child, and then a 13-year-old mind is going, oh my God, no one's listening to me. No one's doing anything. The only thing I can do is resort to slapping him. Like, what do I do? I've done everything I'm supposed to do. I'm humiliated. Amongst all of my peers. They don't have the emotional capacity to handle this. They're kids. An adult. And that's what I'm saying. This timeline went too slow. And I guarantee you there should be a policy change that comes out of this. If ever there's anything, AI, deepfake, whatever, from the get-go, that should take precedence, especially when sexual in nature. Yeah. That should take precedence over anything happening at that school right now. Because now if that child goes and does hurt herself or something comes out of this, you are to blame for it because you failed to act in an appropriate time frame. And that's, I think, where they're going to get sunk.
That's correct. And last thing on that, and then we've got to move on from
and discipline his ass too.
Yeah. When I was in high school, and this is prior to high school, this age group, but when I was a freshman in high school, there was a guy at one of the breaks, you know, you get these 15-minute breaks, and he thought it'd be funny to try to embarrass me in front of a girl. And I beat that ass. I beat that ass because I like that girl, and you're going to try it because he liked her. He's going to try to embarrass me. And I'm like, that ain't going to happen here. I'm about to beat your ass and really impress her. Right. And I did, KD, wherever you're at. You know who you are. I whipped your ass.
Was it Keith Dawson?
No, it's not Keith. How did you know?
Oh, my God.
But the thing about it is, I went to the office, and Kelly's grandfather actually paddled me for that.
You shouldn't have hit him.
I got that paddle.
Hey, you earned it.
He didn't play, Coach Carter.
My hero paddled my coworker.
That's right. Paddled my ass. And that straightened me up for a little while. This girl swatted somebody for sharing a fake nude image of her. I think this is a travesty.
It is.
I think they need to make it right with this girl. And I do think they need to pay some money for this. They need to, because the only way these Lafourche Parish schools are going to learn is if they got to pay in their pocketbook.
To me, personally, and I don't have 100% of the detail, but I will tell you this, just as a human being, as an adult and as a parent who's been in the school system as well, an apology should go a long way. And if they will address these parents who seem completely reasonable, these parents seem completely reasonable, and say, we should have handled this differently, publicly apologize for this, and state the changes we plan to make as a result of this. They're going to fork out some cash. I don't know what else they can do. It's horrible, but they can make this right. Whether they choose to stay hard-nosed, that's going to be on them. And I think that they should pay huge if they don't make it right.
I agree.
All right, let's go to Oklahoma. We have a convicted sex offender who spent 13 years on the run, but he's now in custody. Hey everyone, CrimeWire Weekly has moved to its own new channel.
We hope you've enjoyed this preview. To continue listening, please follow the link referenced in the description of this podcast.
Or simply search CrimeWire Weekly wherever you're listening.
And don't forget to follow the show so you can be alerted when new episodes drop.
Thanks for listening.